Countdown Conspiracy, Chapter 1, Part 2. My mom squeezes my hand. It's fine, it's fine. My mouth feels dry. It's not fine. Part of my portfolio was my programming abilities, and Najma Adero is the best in the business as far as that goes. She's cracked the Kenyan government's entire computer network in a matter of minutes. The third chosen cadet. Massive amounts of shushing noises overtake the auditorium, and I struggle to hear Dr. Schubert as he says, 13-year-old Esteban Castillo of Peru. A smiling boy's face fills up the third slot. The noise in the auditorium is completely out of hand now. Our principal toggles the microphone switch on the wall. Quiet out there! Several students are startled into silence, while the rest don't take much notice and keep up their shouts. Come on, Miranda, you're not out of this yet. Ha, no way, she's totally doomed. My mom grips my hand nearly as hard as I squeeze Ruby's flashcard. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine, she says on repeat. I can feel her shaking, or maybe that's me shaking. It's hard to tell. Esteban Castillo is a computer engineer. They're rapidly chipping away at each of my skills. If they call someone with a robotics background next, then whoever shouted about me being doomed is going to be completely correct. I'm ashamed to admit I'd almost assumed all along either Sasha or I would get in for sure. But now? The fourth chosen cadet! I hold my breath, staring at Dr. Schubert and the three remaining slots. Please, please. 13-year-old Miranda Regent of the United States of America. The auditorium explodes. My face shows up in slot 4. They picked me. I'm paralyzed. They picked me. The screams are deafening. It's like a giant waterfall has been released over our heads at the same time 100 rockets launch around us. Cheers roar through the entire auditorium, a group of kids chanting, USA! USA! Get escorted out almost immediately. And then I'm in the air. Someone's hoisting me up onto the stage. My parents' faces disappear among the crowd of 887 t-shirts. Somehow I can still pick out Emmeline's shrieks of joy. Part of me remembers that there were 2 more cadets yet to be chosen, and I crane my neck back up to the smart screen. The final 2 slots have been filled, but before I can sort out the faces, a surge of camera flashes all but blind me. And with those flashes, my brain finally manages to shake off the shock and begins to process what just happened. I'm a Mars cadet. I'm going to Mars. A huge grin breaks over my face, and I actually laugh out loud as I stumble to get back to my family, who've managed to fight their way out of the crowd and onto the stage with the help of some security officers. None of this feels real, even as my parents both scoop me into a giant bear hug in front of all the cameras, and my sister jumps on my back squealing. We knew you could do it, kiddo, my dad says, ruffling my hair. We're so proud of you, my mom explains. As am I, a voice says. I look up at the smart screen, expecting to see the rest of the cadets listed. Instead, the face of the President of the United States stares back at me. Madam President, I gasp. I step backward, and my sister has to quickly clasp her hands around my neck so she doesn't slide off me. Hello, Miranda, President Nelson says. It's good to see you again. The auditorium screams behind me, and I struggle to find words to respond. Talking to the president isn't any easier now than it was 2 weeks ago when she called to congratulate me on my nomination to the international finals. It's good to see you again too, Madam President, I stammer. Come on, Emmeline. My mom pulls my sister off my back. Let's give Miranda her moment. My family retreats back a ways on the stage, and I consciously had to close my mouth so I stopped gaping at the smart screen. Congratulations, Mars Cadet, the president continues. You're a national hero. Governor Hull hands me a huge plaque, thwopping me proudly on the back. I stumble a bit, but that doesn't shake the giddiness that's bubbling inside me. Your dedicated spirit has helped you achieve so much at such a young age, President Nelson says. Multiple prizes at international science competitions, completing your first triathlon last year at the age of 12, and of course, inventing your famous mechbot, Ruby. President knows about Ruby? I nearly dropped the giant plaque I'm holding. You truly are the embodiment of the strong American character we all strive to exemplify. The president smiles down at me from the screen. But beyond representing America, you now represent the world. You are one of 6 citizens of planet Earth who will reach out to touch the stars. I have to bite down on my lip to keep from replying that touching the stars would be a death sentence and no astronaut would ever attempt such a thing. The president continues to talk. It might have been a Cold War that got us to the moon, but it's going to be peace that gets us to Mars. There's a standing ovation at that and a million buzzing droidlets, each probably messaging that out in video clips. So congratulations, Miranda, President Nelson concludes. Your future and the future of our peaceful planet is bright. She gives me one last smile, and then the smart screen flickers back to a generic shot of the ISECG meeting, with various scientists and political figures wandering around. That was the President of the United States personally calling to congratulate young Miranda Regent, who, if you're just joining us, has been chosen as one of 6 cadets to train for the very first mission to Mars, scheduled to launch 9 years from now. Reporters all around the stage are talking into their cameras, each babbling some equivalent of what the one nearest me is saying. I take the opportunity to slip off stage with my family before any of them can snatch me up. It's impossible to keep a grin off my face as I reach for the flashcard around my neck. We're going to Mars, Ruby. We did it! Miranda, there are a bunch of reporters who have questions for you, my dad says from behind me, offering to take my plaque. You should probably talk to them for at least a little bit. Remember, you don't have to answer anything you don't feel comfortable answering. I hand my plaque to him and then grab and hug him, squealing, Mars, Dad! Mars! I know, sweetie, he smiles. Hold on. A short woman in a brown suit pushes her way through the crowds towards me. A heavier set man in a blue suit follows her. Oh, look, Mary and Michael, your favorite people, my dad winks at me. My PR team nearly trips over one another trying to get to us. Wait, we need to have a conversation with your daughter before she speaks to the media. I'm in too much of a gleeful daze to care as Mary and Michael escort me toward a cordoned off room just outside the auditorium. My dad follows. I try to glance back at my mom, who I think is shrugging at me, but I can't be sure because my view of the auditorium gets blocked as the door shuts. Miranda, we have a situation, Mary says. Well, first of all, congratulations, Michael says. Yes, that, Mary waves a hand at Michael. But more importantly, we need to ensure we head off any international crises. International crises? My dad asks. My droidlet pings at me, drawing my attention down. Sasha's finally texted me. You got me this time, Regent. Congratulations. Best of luck to you and Ruby. And there it is, the first puncture to my giddy high. Sasha didn't get in. I stare at the text, conflicting emotions circling in me like quarks in a particle accelerator. This isn't like the other times. This isn't a competition that repeats next year. I actually beat Sasha, and he's never going to have another chance at this title. What are you looking at? Mary asked, pinching her nails into one of my shoulders. That isn't World Window or whatever social platform you kids use nowadays, is it? No, I reply, holding my joylet back somewhat protectively. I can't help but get the feeling that she wants to snatch it from my wrist. Good. Don't use that anytime soon, she says. We need to run damage control on the international reaction. Out of all the major players in the AEM war, guess which was the only one to actually have a cadet chosen? Is this a trick question? Uh, us? Exactly, Mary says. And do you know what that means? That means Russia didn't? Michael answers for me. He looks me square in the face. The biggest thing to happen since the first moon landing, and Russia doesn't have a cadet in the program? Yeah, I just heard. I glance up at my dad, showing him my joylet. Sasha didn't get in, Dad. Oh, kiddo, my dad says. We knew that would be the case if you won, didn't we? Yeah, we did. I turned back to my PR team, burying my disappointment. Don't worry, I'll be careful about what I say, especially on social media. That's our girl. Michael gives me a thumbs up. The adults began to talk as if I'm not in the room. So I glance back at my wrist, trying to decide how to respond to Sasha's text. But then I notice I actually do have a World Window message. I tap the edge of the joylet quickly so no one notices. A little giddiness trickles back into me, anticipating the flood of congratulations messages I'll be getting soon. I flick my thumb so the message surfaces, and my eyes go as wide as gas giants. The message isn't a congratulation at all. You're in danger. Trust no one.